How to master Facebook ads in 2023. In today's video, we're going to talk about the old way of running Facebook ads. We're going to talk about the new way on how to run Facebook ads. And I'm going to tell you exactly how you can make better decisions within your ad account to scale your Facebook ads past $1,000 a day. So I would say let's get right into the video. So first things first, why should you trust what I'm saying? So I've managed way over 20, maybe even $30 million on Facebook ads. These are just some of the accounts. You can see a big screenshot right on your screen. This one spent 1.9 million so far on Facebook ads. This one right here spent 2.4 million, and then this one right here so far spent almost $3 million on the Facebook side of things. And those are just some of the accounts that we manage here at Turn Vertical. But how do you run Facebook ads in 2023? So the old approach was, running many campaigns, differentiating by funnel. You would have a middle of funnel campaign, you would have a bottom of funnel campaign, maybe even a retention campaign, basically targeting existing customers. And overall, you would have like 2-3 scaling campaigns, ABO, CPO, total mess, right? Due to many day-by-day changes to kind of keep up with performance, right? Because every other day your performance will crash. And if this sounds like if you're still doing that, that's the old approach. So let me introduce you to the new approach, which is also far better, far more stable, and you have to do way less within your ad account. The new approach is, you have one full funnel campaign. Again, one campaign per SKU essentially. So if you're selling multiple products and you would have multiple campaigns, I'll go over that in just a second. And you think of each campaign as kind of a sales pitch, going back to the SKUs. How many different sales pitches do you need? If you're selling 10 t-shirts, which are just different colors, you just need one campaign because they all have kind of the same sales pitch, right? But if you, selling a jeans and a t-shirt, you need 2 full funnel campaigns because those are different sales pitches. People who buy jeans are different from the ones who buy t-shirts, right? And that's the first thing you have to understand, that you need to simplify your ad account. Why? I'm going to go over in just a second, but understand this first. Have as few campaigns as possible, and every campaign that you run is essentially a full funnel campaign. And because you have less campaigns, you can make way better decisions, and the decisions that you are going to make are based on spend. Again, more on that in just a second. That's first of all the new approach. Again, one full funnel campaign, again, per SKU essentially, per product that you're selling. Usually you don't want to sell more than 2-3 products because you don't have more than 2-3 hero products really. Because you don't have more than 2-3 hero products really, and then you make decisions based on spend within those campaigns. So every other campaign that you add to your mix, right, to your campaign mix, should be a horizontal scaling effort. Whether it's cost cap, maybe even an ABO, Advantage Plus, those should all be horizontal scaling efforts. I'm a big fan of Advantage Plus. I think it's a fantastic invention, but right now I still don't see it as a sole and only scaling campaign for an ad account because the algorithm is still different. You get to higher frequencies faster because Facebook is more aggressive. They're more aggressive in showing certain types of users your ads. People who are kind of at the end of their buying cycle. They're about to make a decision on which product to purchase. Whether it's from you or from a competitor. Basically, Facebook knows which type of buying circle a person's in, based on the trillions of data points that they have. Therefore, they are showing, Advantage Plus campaigns are being shown to these people, which again makes them more aggressive, and the frequency goes up faster. Then, how does the full funnel campaign setup look like? You might be thinking, there's tons of different ad sets in there, middle funnel retargeting ad set, blah blah blah. That's totally not the case. You have one scaling ad set, which is you have one ad set in there which is broad, and broad means no targeting. You only differentiate by gender, age, and location. That's it. For example, target the whole United States, only women between the ages of 24 to 65. This will be a broad ad set. You don't put any targeting in there. Definitely not any lookalike targeting. But that's first of all, whether you're against that approach or for that approach, I want you to be open-minded and just stick to the end of the video to really understand why that is the move to go for, in my opinion. And if you have a different opinion, you can obviously comment that, and I'm always open. But right now, that's the approach that we are running, and that drives millions and millions of e-commerce revenue, right? So again, one scaling ad set only, and what you put into that scaling ad set are your winning ads, you're winning post IDs. So ideally speaking, if you're just starting out, you obviously test more, then you can kind of forget about that scaling ad set. But what you have in the end is essentially one scaling ad set, and then you have different testing ad sets in it. go over that in just a second. But you know, that's the approach for now. You have one broad ad set with a winning post and it's dynamic creative tests. You know, more tests in just a second, but you know, keep in mind that you should only run 2 tests at max at the same time. So at any given time, you only have 3 active ad sets within your full funnel campaign. You have the scaling ad set, you have test 1 and test 2, and you don't run more than that. You might be thinking, how does retargeting come into play? Now, I'm not talking about retargeting campaigns. So how do we retarget? Because retargeting obviously is an essential tool, and it does drive incremental revenue, it does drive incremental conversions, right? So how do you run retargeting ads? First of all, I have a video linked here which you can check out, which talks about why specifically retargeting campaigns aren't necessary anymore, why they could even be preventing you from scaling up your ads. I've made a video about that, so I recommend you check that out first. And then instead of thinking about retargeting campaigns, think about retargeting ads. Previously, how it was like, you had your prospecting ads and your prospecting campaign, and then you had your retargeting middle of funnel, bottom of funnel campaign with your retargeting ads, and those were different ads. Maybe they had like a discount on them, maybe they had more testimonials or reviews on them, which there was a different messaging, a different sales pitch essentially to get people who had like their first touch point with your brand. They went on your website, they didn't purchase, and then you would hit them with a different messaging, right? And that's still what we're doing, but we're doing that in that full funnel campaign approach. You still have all of your retargeting ads, they're just all in your full funnel campaign. And the Facebook algorithm is so smart, it knows which funnel stage people are at and then shows them the right ads. So 2 things about that point, because I think it's super important. First of all, the Facebook algorithm has trillions of data points when it comes to people. Facebook knows if a person has clicked on an ad from you, and they know if they are considering buying your brand. So instead of wasting money on retargeting, you just basically let Facebook do the work for you and have them show retargeting ads for you to people where Facebook thinks it's the correct way, right? Again, I talked about this in my other video, but Facebook knows very well which funnel stage a person's at. And the second point is, not only do they know about your potential customers, which funnel stages they're at, there are obviously tons of different competitor brands out there. Maybe you're selling skincare, organic skincare. There are like hundreds of skincare brands out there who sell organic skincare, right? And because maybe a person saw a brand from skincare brand A, which is not your brand, and they are considering buying, but then they see a retargeting ad, which previously would only be a retargeting ad, which would only show obviously to a retargeting audience, people who engage, etc. Because running the full funnel approach, Facebook can leverage their algorithm and maybe show your ad to people who are ready to buy from another brand, but consider then switching to your brand because they want an ad from your brand. That was previously not the case, but because you have that full funnel approach, and not only does Facebook know again which funnel stage people who've seen your ads are in, but they also know that from competitor brands. So be open and let people buy from which brand they want essentially, right? And which is your brand, hopefully, so you can really take those low-hanging fruits from other brands as well. And this is why Facebook is so smart. Again, if you want to learn more about that, watch the video. I have it also linked in the description. Yeah, Facebook knows which funnel potential buyers in. Some may be bottom of funnel for another brand, and you get them to convert, right? That could very well be the case. Then, how do you make decisions? Because you obviously have that full funnel approach, and it's hard to, determine whether something is good or not, right? You also obviously run a CBO campaign, so how do you make decisions based on that? First of all, look at the campaign performance. Is it above or below my target CPA? If it's below, great, you will scale up. If it's not, you obviously have to make decisions, and then you go deeper. I'm going to go over that in just a second. You have to keep in mind that Facebook always wants to give you the best CPA. So if you're good to Facebook, Facebook is essentially good to you. They want the user and the advertiser both equally to have a great experience, obviously user experience, so that they keep scrolling, that they keep being on Facebook, that they make great purchases, which they're happy with, and they want to have you as an advertiser happy, so that you spend more money on Facebook. And you have to understand that they want to work in your favor, essentially, right? So if you believe that Facebook wants to give you the best CPA, then you forget those questions of, this ad got a 10x ROAS, but it's not getting any spend. What should I do? I'm gonna answer that in just a second. But those questions will be erased from your brain essentially, because start to make decisions based on spend. Isn't that getting a lot of spend that has a higher CPA? Potentially it's a prospecting and bringing new people into your funnel. That's why it's important to look at the campaign performance. If one ad has a higher CPA but is getting a lot of spend, but your overall performance of the campaign is great, then you have two choices, right? You can either be okay with it and scale up, or you can try to make that ad which is getting a lot of spend but has a high CPA. You can start to improve that, which you're also going to go testing in just a second. But for now, understand, look at your campaign level and make decisions based on spend. And if something's getting a lot of spend, you don't want to turn it off, because then most likely your whole performance will crush, even though that one has a high CPA, right? So could very well be that this is a prospecting ad bringing new people. Again, watch the video, I'm going to go more in depth about that topic in there. You don't want to keep on high ROAS ads, because you're running the full funnel approach and you're used to getting higher ROAS with retargeting ads. You have the whole media mix in one campaign. You have middle funnel, bottom funnel, and prospecting in one campaign. So not every ad is going to have the same ROAS. Some just will be way higher, some will be way lower. Again, that's why you should be careful with turning off ads that don't have the highest CPA, because they could be those prospecting ads which you previously had separated. And that's why you have to kind of change your thinking algorithm. But once you've adjusted to this, you're going to make way better decisions. Again, don't only keep high ROAS ads on in there. You want to keep low ROAS or high CPA ads on, as long as they're not super out of your target CPA range. Again, first things first, look at campaign performance. If that's good, great, you can set up. And then as long as something is 10, 50, 20% above your target CPA, but all of us altogether is still being below the target CPA, then I wouldn't turn those ads off. Again, stop making decisions based on ROAS. You want to make decisions based on spend and then also CPA. Low spend plus high CPA, turn off an ad, which I just showed you. But low CPA plus low spend, if an ad is getting super good ROAS, but it's not getting much spend, and you're thinking, why is this not getting more spend? I want to force spend behind it. ABO testing would force spend behind those ads, and then they would crash. They're just not good enough for scale. Facebook understands that. No spend, no good. That's what you have to understand. No matter how much you invested in an ad, if it doesn't get spent, it's not good. If an ad is getting spent, Facebook thinks this ad is better than your current ads. And this has two main advantages. First of all, you obviously have to accept the fact that not every ad is going to get spent. Not every test that you're doing is going to get spent. And once you're okay with that, you can start to see the advantages of that. This prevents you from losing a lot of money. Think a little bit of like cost cap. If you have cost cap or cost cap testing, you obviously have cost cap, and if the ad isn't getting spent, it would be above your cost cap. And the same way kind of goes with testing in a CPO environment. When an ad is not getting spent, it's just not good enough to get spent, right? And this prevents losses. And again, don't force spend on stuff that doesn't get spent. There are rare excuses where if you as a human being are 100% certain that this ad will outperform all of the other ads in your account and it's not getting spent, you can force spend. But if it's your average ad and it's not getting spent, it's probably just simply not good enough. Then let's look at number 7, testing. How do I test with this new approach? And again, fairly straightforward. So you have one dynamic creative ad set per test that you run, and in this ad set you have 3 creatives. Again, the main differentiator in performance will be your creative. You have 3 creatives, 2 headlines, 2 ad copies. Ideally speaking, those headlines and ad copies are the same as in your previous test, so the only variable that you're changing is your creative. I have a separate video about creative testing. I'm going to link that right here as well. For now, keep in mind, dynamic creative on, 3 creatives, 2 headlines, 2 ad copies, fairly common tactic nowadays. And again, you only want to change 1 variable per time only. And also again, if a test is not getting spent after you've launched it, it's simply not good enough. So how, the new approaches, old approach was testing a ton of different stuff, just seeing what sticks, wasting a lot of money. Now we test less but better. Now how do you do that? You first start by identifying the ads that you need. Do you need a prospecting, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel ad, right? Look at scaling and winning ad set to see what's missing. Do all of the ads have low CPMs and low frequencies? Then you're probably missing some middle of funnel, bottom of funnel ads. If all of the ads have super high ROAS and a low CPA, but you can't scale up past a certain threshold, you're probably missing some prospecting ads. Again, I went more in depth in the topic about CPM, frequency analysis, etc. In another video, which I have linked right here as well. But for now, begin to understand that you first have to identify what type of ad do you need. Again, prospecting from the bottom of funnel, right? And again, all ads have a low CPM plus high CPAs. Maybe all you're missing to win is a retargeting ad, a review ad, a testimonial, or something like this, right? Then, what type of creative am I missing? I see tons of accounts that only have video ads, image ads, and they have no media mix, right? Don't rely on one type of creative. You want to run GIF ad, video ads, image ads, maybe even a carousel. Throw that in there, test that. Only one creative type is not good enough for scaling up an ad account. Last thing, do you need an iteration or a new concept, right? Again, keep in mind, when there's no spend, it doesn't work. But let's say you have an ad that is getting a ton of spend but has a super high ROAS, but when you turn it off, the whole ad account crashes, which totally makes sense because it's most likely a prospect ad, and if it's off, you're not getting enough new people into your funnel. So you can now start to iterate that creative and start to improve the CPA of that particular creative. That will be an iteration, and that could be the thing that you need right now. It could also be that you have one great prospecting ad, but all you're missing to scale an ad account is a second prospecting ad. Let's say your main prospecting ad, which is currently performing, has a woman in it. You could now try to start testing ads with men in them to see if that overall gives you more stability in ad account to scale up further, right? And that's what creative testing comes down to. Identify what type of ads do you need, what creative type do you need, and then do you need an iteration or a new concept. And once you understand this, you can eliminate all those random creative testing because you know exactly what you need to scale up your ad account. If you have a high CPA and you're spending a ton, maybe all you're missing is a retargeting ad. Again, you do this by analyzing CPMs, frequency, and amount spends, which is a separate video about. But by running that one campaign full funnel approach, Facebook ads just become so much easier because you can make way better decisions. You just look at your campaign level. Is my target CPA? Do I reach my target CPA? Is it above or below that? Then analyze what type of creatives am I missing, and then test, see if it gets spent. If it gets spent and a good CPA, you can scale up. It's really as simple as that. So this is how we run Facebook ads, how we spend millions on Facebook, with 1-2 campaign approach. We usually run CPO scaling and then one advanced plus horizontal scaling effort. And yeah, if you're looking for your next winning ad, if you are looking to scale up but you can't scale up and creative is your bottleneck, click the first link in the description and book a call with us. We're going to give you a free creative audit. And yeah, thanks so much for sticking around. Thanks so much for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed.